This is not just a story. This is revenge.
There's a certain kind of humiliation that only happens in public. Not loud humiliation. Worse. The quiet kind. The kind where someone smiles at you while erasing you from the room. My son's fiancée did it with a text message, 3 sentences. That was all it took. I think it's best if you don't attend the wedding. Then, another message. Some of our guests are high profile. Your diner job might create the wrong impression. And then the line that stayed in my head for weeks. Please don't make this difficult. I read it standing beside the industrial dishwasher during a double shift at Parker's Diner in Columbus, Ohio. Grease burns on my arm. Coffee stain on my apron. And honestly, the worst part wasn't the insult. It was the fact that my son said nothing. Not one call. Not one defense. Nothing. But here's where they messed up. Because 3 years earlier, her father had thrown my son out of his house theme mammal. House in the middle of January. And for almost 8 months after that, my embarrassing storage room was the only place he had left to sleep. They forgot that part. I didn't. And buried deep inside an old phone backup was one screenshot that could collapse their entire perfect little engagement. But the screenshot itself wasn't even the real T-Rap. Not even close. People love successful men. They especially love the fake version built afterward. By the time Ethan got engaged to Savannah Mercer, he had completely rewritten himself. New suits, luxury apartment, finance job, downtown. He talked slower now, more polished. Like he'd sanded off every rough edge that reminded him where he came from. And Savannah's family loved that version of him. Her father, Richard Mercer, especially. Which was funny. Because Mercer was the exact same man who once shoved Ethan's backpack into the snow and told him, "You'll never survive in this family." I remember Ethan showing up outside my duplex at 2:14 a.m., shaking. No coat zipper. Holding a trash bag with clothes inside. He didn't even knock properly, just leaned against the doorframe and whispered, "I don't know where else to go," and I let him in. No questions. For 8 months, he slept beside broken Christmas decorations and old paint cans in my storage room. I fed him, covered his gas money, paid his overdue phone bill twice. And every night he'd sit on that folding chair saying the same thing, "I'm gonna fix it. One day, I'm gonna fix this." He did fix it, just not for me. Once Savannah came back into his life, he started pretending those months never happened. Like poverty was contagious. Like I was evidence that needed to disappear. And honestly, that part hurt more than the wedding invitation. Because betrayal from strangers feels sharp. Betrayal from your own child feels surgical. But there was something Ethan didn't know. Ethan didn't know something he had forgotten about that storage room. I kept everything. Savannah had one fatal weakness. Image, not money, not love. Image. Her entire personality was built like a showroom house. Perfect angles, perfect guests, perfect online captions. She didn't want a marriage. She wanted a lifestyle campaign And Ethan became part of the branding. The self-made fiancé, the polished survivor, the ambitious finance guy who supposedly built himself from nothing. But narcissists always make the same mistake. They think deleting evidence changes reality. It doesn't. It just creates blind spots. And Savannah had absolutely no idea how much evidence still existed. Photos, old voicemails, texts, even security footage timestamps from my duplex parking lot. Not because I was planning revenge, because poor people keep receipts. Rich people assume nobody else does. That difference destroys careers every day in America. And honestly, I still wasn't planning to expose them. Not yet, until Savannah sent one final message. Please understand, this decision is final. Ethan agrees. Ethan agrees. That line changed everything. Because now it wasn't Savannah hiding behind class embarrassment anymore. Now my son was participating in it. And the moment someone joins the humiliation willingly, something cold switches on inside you. I didn't react immediately. That's what emotional people do. And emotional people lose. Instead, I spent 4 nights building a timeline. Quietly, I recovered old cloud backups, exported texts, pulled archived Facebook messages. And then I found it. January 11th, 2:43 a.m. A message Ethan sent me years ago. Her dad changed the locks. I'm outside freezing. Please tell me I can stay with you. Short message, but devastating.
Because Savannah's father had spent years publicly claiming
Ethan was like a son to him, mentoring, guiding him,
helping him succeed.
It was all fake, and Ethan knew it, which meant Ethan's entire social identity depended on nobody exposing the truth. That screenshot wasn't emotional anymore. It was leverage. But here's the darker part. I still didn't send it. Not immediately. Because I wanted to see how far they'd go first. And they went very far. 3 weeks later, Savannah posted their wedding website online. Massive venue. Private vineyards. Invitation-only reception. Then came the rehearsal dinner seating chart. And somebody sent Sambasif Mai a screenshot. There was literally a section labeled professional guests, doctors, executives, investors, and another section farther back labeled extended relations. That's where they placed me originally. Before removing me completely. Not family, not mother of the groom. An inconvenience. And honestly, that was the exact moment the revenge stopped being emotional. Now it became mathematical. Because humiliation only works if the victim accepts isolation. I didn't. I started making calls. Quiet ones. The kind that don't sound dangerous until months later when someone's reputation suddenly starts collapsing from 6 directions at once. And the first domino fell faster than I expected. 2 days later, Savannah's father called Ethan during a client dinner. Panicked. Somebody had anonymously forwarded old property incident reports to members of their country club board.
Including the police at Mercer removal for assistant board. Richard Mercer
Threw Ethan out. That alone wouldn't destroy him. But paired with his public family values, branding, different story. Especially because Richard Mercer was campaigning for a city council position at the time. And suddenly, people had questions. Why did the Mercer family publicly market Ethan as family after abandoning him during a financial crisis? Why were old neighbors describing screaming matches outside the house? Why were timelines not matching? Small cracks. Nothing catastrophic yet. But narcissists don't survive uncertainty well. They need control. As Savannah completely lost hers when she had closely still had access. And Savannah Tassem completely lost hers when she realized the leaks weren't random. Someone closest to the situations still had access to the original records. That's when she finally called me. First time in months, she sounded different without the confidence. Smaller. Did you send those files? I stirred coffee while she talked. Didn't answer immediately. That silence scared her more than yelling ever could. Then she asked the wrong question. How much do you actually know? There it was. Fear. Not guilt. Fear. And honestly, that's when I realized something important.
Savannah thought the screenshot was the threat. She still didn't understand the real danger.
The real danger was Ethan himself. Because desperate people confess when their social status is threatened, and Ethan was cracking. Fast. Within 48 hours, he started calling repeatedly, leaving shaky voicemails, trying to explain, trying to repair optics instead of relationships. That's how I knew they were finished. Not because they felt bad, because they were terrified of exposure. And then Ethan made the fatal mistake. He tried to threaten me legally. Ethan actually sent a cease and desist letter against his own mother, claiming harassment and intentional reputational damage, which would have been hilarious, pathetic. If it was attempt, because attached to the complaint were sworn statements containing contradictions. Multiple contradictions. Dates. Residency history. Financial dependency timelines. Things that directly conflicted with public loan applications Ethan had previously signed. And once attorneys start comparing timelines, everything opens. Everything. The wedding venue backed out first. Quietly. Then, one of Ethan's finance clients requested an internal ethics review after seeing online discussions about misrepresented background disclosures. Then, Savannah's father suspended his counsel campaign. Nobody got arrested. No dramatic courtroom scene. That's not how real destruction works. Real destruction is administrative. Slow. Cold. Embarrassing. It's invitations disappearing. Phone calls stopping. Meetings canceled without explanation. And eventually, the wedding itself quietly vanished from social media. No announcement. No statement. Just gone. Like they were trying to erase a crime scene. But here's the part that still bothers me. After everything collapsed, Ethan came back to my duplex. Same posture, same defeated look, almost identical to that night years ago. And for 1 second, I saw my son again. Not the polished liar, not the coward, just the scared kid holding a trash bag in the snow. But some doors only open once in life. A month later, I heard Savannah moved to Chicago. Richard Mercer disappeared from local politics entirely. And Ethan? He lost the finance position 6 weeks after the ethics review began. Officially, it was restructuring. Unofficially, nobody trusts a man whose entire identity changes depending on the room he's standing in. And honestly, that's the real punishment. Not losing money, not losing status, losing credibility. Because once people realize you rewrite reality to impress powerful people, they start wondering what else you're lying about. That suspicion follows you forever. Like smoke trapped inside fabric. You never fully wash it out. There's something deeply dangerous about humiliating twat, especially the ones who spent years surviving without power. Because they learn something narcissists never do. Documentation matters. Memory matters. Patterns matter. And the people you call embarrassing today might be holding the original version of your story tomorrow. The version before the money. Before the fake image. Before the lies became profitable. And once that version surfaces, everything built on top of it starts shaking. Slowly. Then, all at once. There's a very specific boundary you never cross with a quiet person. Because once the trap is set, you won't even realize you're walking into it until you hear the snap. Tell me this. At what exact moment did Ethan deserve what happened to him? And honestly, would you have sent the screenshot sooner? See you in the next breakdown.